product too important, because tonight, it's Wheat Thins. Wheat Thins, crunch is calling, and the call is coming from inside your mouth. Get out of there.
I think our work with Kraft, with Wheat Thins and the Colbert team, is really about understanding how do we take a great brand, weave it into the brand integration, into the programming in a really fun way that starts conversation, that is playful, that actually sparks more of a dialogue, and that we can kind of make fun of ourselves in a way. And think of content in not such a serious approach of a standard brand integration off a brief, but look at the process itself, in this case including the brief, and making that part of the payoff for the consumer. The program itself was started with great conversations with the media partners and trying to percolate how could we really integrate the Wheat Thins brand into the kind of the zeitgeist, bit of the dialogue for this millennial audience. And how could we actually do that in a way that maybe even is playful and makes fun of itself, instead of taking the brand too seriously. Just knowing that that's the heart of how this audience actually thinks of content and wants to be more engaging and be in a position where they can share and kind of spread the word. So you have to create something that's spreadable and shareable and has that value to them. From there, it took off to how do we then brief the Colbert team, and what they found was actually the most funny part of this was the brief itself, so they made that their platform.
Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Steven, how important could Wheat Thins be? Yeah, I used to think that way too. Until I received this actual memo from Wheat Thins, detailing for my sponsorship purposes what the role of Wheat Thins is in our lives. And let me tell you something. You think you know Wheat Thins? You.
You know, measurement with social is across so many areas and just such a wide spectrum that it's really about, instead of just one measurement and one KPI, how do we look at all the different dynamics of the data that we're gathering? So in this instance, understanding the level of engagement and the time spent, the conversations, the volumes of tweets, posts, shareability, and the viral nature of the content in itself. Take all of that together and roll it up to see, is this something we can see as scalable, repeatable? Is it something that we would tweak to actually accelerate the virality of the content in the future? Are there some good lessons we could share across? In simplest terms, it's really bringing conversations back around television content experience, and probably shouldn't even be talking about it from a platform of TV content, thinking more of content being as fluid and as much of a spark of a dialogue as we can have. And it's about now looking at social not just in a silo, too, separate from how we're looking at buying across channels, but having that be the platform that strings through all of our channel development and all of our idea development. And from fueling ideas by taking the conversations that are happening to actually then looking at how do we scale that out across other channels. Social TV is just a new spark for creating a richer experience that brands can be a part of, but not limited at all to only the television medium. The infronts were a great statement to the industry that video is here, alive, and at a level of scale that it should be definitely considered as an alternative to looking at only television ratings and looking at that as a means of large-scale reach. I think all of the different portals, there's AOL, Microsoft, Yahoo, Hulu, folks at Vivo, you name it. Everyone came out with a great story around originals that really enhanced what we know to be true, which is content is what drives conversations. Content is what's driving, certainly we call social TV, but it's driving real value. And so the opportunity for brands to be integrating that content, to sponsor it, to be part of just the reach of that content across platforms is exciting. It's a really exciting time to be in the business. Reach, GRPs, that's been a long debate in digital, whether we should align around one metric or is that taking us down the wrong path, because digital measurement is so much more nuanced and also so many vast points of data that we can gather to tell this story versus aligning to one single one. I think the industry has gotten over itself and realized that it's not just one metric, but it's one plus. And so the conversations around reach will certainly help, I think, agencies and clients embrace online video and understand the value it delivers and ease the way for more dollars shifting, because it simply will be easier to buy and compare. But it's not the only metric that we're looking at. So no one's walking away from engagement. I think the complexity and the conversations around data make this a dialogue that we need to have to move beyond just DRPs, but it's a great starting point for us to at least align around the possibilities of looking at all channels with one metric, but then adding incrementally on top of that to understand what it's doing for performance, for sales, for engagement, for awareness, and not just impressions delivery.